I've been studying yoga philosophy and also subject related to moksha. In that, Rishi Dayanand talks about चार साधन मोक्ष के Vivek, Vairagya, Shat Sampatti, there are 6, and Mumuksha. So my question is on this Vairagya, you know,
Yeah.
which faculty of our chit or mind, as we call it, man, buddhi, chit, ahankar, which faculty sort of gives us this vairagya to do the right thing and not do the wrong things. One is buddhi. Buddhi sort of whatever our knowledge is, it puts it up and judges from there. One is man, which does the sankalp vikalp, karun ke na karun. And chit is, I guess, our storage device where all our sanskaras are. And as we, what motivates us to go to a sort of go on a righteous path. This will to do good thing or bad thing. What is that, and how can we enhance that? That we get successful in our resolve to do good things, to become a better person. Thank you.
Yeah. I think the question is about our mind as a whole and how it functions, and in particular, what faculty of mind is concerned with what is called Vairagya. It's a very important question, and I believe its answer is due and requires twofold understanding. One is how does the mind function, and also how to control it, so that the opposite of Vairagya is rag. So why do I go into rag at the first place, and how to inhibit rag by means of Vairagya? So there are two aspects of this question, and let's look at it. So I am here, I would like to show you a slide here, which probably will help us understand it. So here is a slide which is putting forth what Maharishi Kapil is writing in Sankhya, because Patanjali deals with how to control our mind. Sankhya and Yoga Darshan, they go as one pair, where Sankhya is going more in detail of what mind is and how so-called vrittis are coming to face me. And Patanjali's treatise on yoga is how to inhibit these vrittis. So how to control my function of mind. So the question is twofold, and we will have to take help from both Sankhya and Yoga. So like the question was that our overall mind, what we call it, has 4 units, so to say: man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar. So when I come to Sankhya, Sankhya is very clear that we have 13 instruments, so to say. So what are those 13? 5 is this Jnanendriya, or what is called 5 sensory organs, is it not? The sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. And 5 are our motor organs through which I act upon my surroundings, hands, feet, and speech, etc. 5 plus 5 makes 10. Now we have three more. Three more. Sankhya is giving them name. This is actually me. This is called my purse, that ultimate seat of my consciousness. This is me. And very close to me, if I go follow in this direction, the first unit of my mind, inner mind, is buddhi. Then comes ahankar, and then comes manas. So buddhi, ahankar, and man, these are three units, plus 5 plus 5, 13. So these are total 13 instruments that all of us have, we are born with. And then we have this physical body, which is Sthul Sharir. Now, when you open the book of Yoga Darshan, then it begins with Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Now, Chitta is first question that we face is, what is called Chitta in Yoga? What does it correspond to in the terminology of Buddhi, Ahankar, and Man? Why is there a fourth unit, Why is there a fourth name if there are only three units? Now, since Patanjali is saying, if I have diminished, if I have subdued all that happens on my chitta, his statement is yogas chitta vetti niyodha. What he's saying is, if all the fluctuations of my chitta are subdued, then next statement is tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. Then the observer, the self, the purush, is stationed within himself, is it not? This statement clearly indicates that chitta has to be the closest to purush. So chitta has to be nothing but this buddhi, so that when I have diminished the functions of chitta, then I am to my own self. That should be very clear. Now, that is why in the first box, this is one unit, but it has three names: Mahat, Buddhi, as well as Chitta. So, Mahat is a general term. I have to, because I am mentioning in this diagram, so might as well explain it. Mahat is formed out of the original Prakriti, which is in equilibrium. That is Mahat. Now, out of Mahat, Ahankar will be formed. Out of Ahankar, Man will be made. And also out of Ahankar, this objective world will be made through the Panchabhut, etc. We are not going into those details yet. But I'm just trying to point out, Mahat is a generalized principle out of which all this world is going to be made. So that Mahat is very general. A particular Mahat which is rich in Sattva, so that is my knowledge faculty, is used as my buddhi. So Mahat is a general term which could be rich in Sattva, which could be rich in Rajas, which could be rich in Tamas also, because it has to construct all the building blocks of the universe, is it not? Now the particular Mahat that is rich in Sattva is utilized to become my instrument of buddhi. Okay, so we have understood why there are two names, Mahat as well as buddhi. Now the buddhi is my particular instrument to which I have been connected. And this connection is called bondage. This is what is bandha. And when your question was about moksha, moksha is a situation when this joint, this is called as granthi, this is a knot. Somebody has tied a knot here. That knot has to be opened out, is it not? So that is going to be the mukti. And what you have listed, the four mukti ke sadhan, these are the means to attain the mukti. These are the means, but this means doesn't give me mukti direct. That has to be understood. Mukti comes jnanat mukti. That is very clear. When I have experiential knowledge that I am this and not this, then I am mukti, I am attaining the moksha. But to reach to that state, Maharishi Dayanand is listing, you need to have Vairagya, you need to have Vivek, you need to have good karma also, and so on and so forth. Or whatever it is. He lists a long list because all that will facilitate you to come to this. But then finally, it is deep meditation practice whereby all this happens. Let's go by step by step. Here now we are confronted with the question, if yes, chitta should be closest to purush, and that's what buddhi is. So buddhi is the chitta. But then why did Patanjali give a new name to buddhi? That is we have to understand. That is the first question. Now buddhi in Sankhya is defined as adhyavasayo, means it has the discriminatory ability. Buddhi only, as a human being with this intellectual faculty, we are always discriminating between right and wrong, truth and untruth, and good and bad, do's and don'ts. These are all kinds of options we are evaluating, and we are finally deciding this is right, this is wrong, is it not? And this is how we function, intellectual functioning. So that is what this instrument is capable of doing. Please note this word. It is capable of doing it. But sometimes I do not use this instrument to its fullest potential, is it not? For example, I go to sleep, and in sleep I have dreams. Dreams are also exhibited here because this is what is closest to me. So, but in dream, I am not doing any really thinking operation, is it not? I am not evaluating options. I am not doing, it's just something is as if a cinema is playing there. So sometimes, and even in the daytime, I can just be relaxed, sitting relaxed in a relaxing chair, but something transpires on my mind screen. On this is the screen I am always watching. I am not quite doing intellectual thinking, but a kind of a picture of my daughter comes, something comes in my mind, but I am not quite doing intellectual thinking at that point. So at that point of time, buddhi is treated as functioning as chitta. So please note it. Chitta is a wider connotation for this instrument, but when chitta is functioning and intellectually discriminatory ability, then it is buddhi. Otherwise, it is at a very subtle level as just chitta when it is displaying something. Where does it display from? It picks up things from here. The second unit. The second unit is my storage device that is called by Sankhya as ahankar. So I am doing nothing as such, but really I am not in blank mind. Something keeps coming in my mind. What is keep coming is displayed by chitta. Now at that point it is not quite buddhi because it is merely displaying it. It is not quite engaged in exercising its discriminatory ability. Though it has that potential power, but I am not quite using it. It is like saying I am driving an automobile which is driven by an engine, and I am driving at a very fast speed, and then at one's uh, road intersection there is a red light, and I stop my car there. But the engine is running at that point. That time we say engine is in idling mode. That same engine has the potential to run my car at a high speed. But at that point of time, it is merely running it is not quite stopped. The engine is still running at a low speed, but we call it as idling speed, is it not? So look at buddhi. Buddhi is the fullest potential of chitta, but when it is barely in idling mode, it is like chitta. Just to give not a, it's a very crude example, but just to make you feel, to convey my idea. So this is because the term used was so-called Antakaran Chatushta, that gives an idea as if there are four components of our mind. Mind is called in the Vedic terminology as Antakaran because it is inner set of instruments, but actually there are only three units only, but there are four names. Four names are for good reason because Buddhi sometimes, very often, it is working at chitta. But this chitta function is always there, always there. Say I enter into a new setting, a new hall, somebody's home, and I see a chair in front of me, which is I'm seeing for the first time. Just try to, this is our way, every moment we are functioning like this. But try to understand the powerful power of our mind in the sense, as I enter into a new hall, I see a chair. Of course, in a moment, I conclude this is a chair. But the fact is, there is a process by which I have concluded this is a chair, is it not? And if you analyze that process, first is I saw the image of that object that was brought to me through my sight organ, and it came all this way. It was displayed here. And then I am confronted with what is this object? Is it a table? Is it a stool? Is it a bench? Is it a chair? What is it? You are faced with this question. Then, though we are not quite aware of, a lot of pictures come from our memory, and then we compare those pictures. We say this picture does not compares very well with a bench. It does not compare very well with a table. It does not, because there is no back there in a table. In a bench, the sitting space is very wide. Here, the chair, the sitting space aspect ratio is slightly different, and so on and so forth. All this is because, we are not, it just happens in a moment. So we have never bothered how does this process take place. But there is a lot of thing is happening. Billions of data are going here and there, and then a comparison is made, and then a conclusion is made that this new object in front of me is not a desk, is not a table, is not a sofa, is not a bench or a stool, it is a chair. Though it has four legs, like many other things, it has a back and it has certain arms and things like that. So we compare it as, we conclude it is a chair, but you will appreciate it in the process. A lot of data has been obtained from my memory, where from my life experience, I have a lot of images in my memory of sofa, of tables, desks, stools, chairs, etc. A number of images were brought, comparison was made, and then I concluded that this is a chair and not anything else. The reason I am saying this is, earlier I said Chit is something like Buddhi functioning at a very low mode as an idling engine. But now I am trying to explain, even when Buddhi is functioning at its full potential, 24/7, inherently, Buddhi relies on a lot of data coming from Ahankar, and the process of fetching the data, so Buddhi itself is fetching the data from the memory, and the component that brings the data has a name, namely Chitta. That's what Maharishi Dayananda has written in the 9th chapter of Satyat Prakash. Chitta smaran karata hai. That statement is very important. What he's saying is, Chitta is what? Fetching the data from the memory. Now, of course, there is a lot of misconception about the second unit. So, I have covered this first box, why it is called Mahat, why it is called Buddhi, and why is it called Chitta. Now we are at the second unit. Unfortunately, there is a misconception. There is a huge amount of misconception about this unit. But if you can, please believe me, this is nothing but all the previous data. So, the property of this me, consciousness, is threefold. Ability to know, I am the knower, ability to experience an event, that is called, first is called Jnan, then Bhog, experiencing an event. I can feel joy and pain, is it not? And then ability to act upon it. So action. So knowledge, action, and experience. Jnana, Bhog, and Karma. These are the three powers this consciousness has. But to utilize these powers, it needs the whole lot of inner set of instruments and the outer set of instruments, namely the body. Is it not? So this we are discussing how does the mind work as such. So like we are talking here about knowledge acquisition. At the level of buddhi, the five senses have picked up something from the outer world that is brought to be manas, man, then it brought to ahankar, and then it is projected here, and I say, yes, I got it. I get a taste of coffee, I get a picture of a flower, a garden, all that thing is happening, all that is brought up to this point, and brought one at a time by mana, and then ahankar, and then buddhi, and then I conclude that we have already discussed a new setting, a new hall. I saw a chair that we have discussed how the data was brought and how I concluded. And then say I am very tired, I decide, okay, why don't I sit on this chair, make myself comfortable? Then that will be an action so that I feel good. Is it? So let's say it. So knowledge, experience, and action are the three things happening at this level. And here, if I have known once, now the real thing is something else, but we know it. The past knowledge is stored somewhere, is it not? So that is where we are telling ourselves the past knowledge, past experience, the past bhog, and the past action I have taken. If I am learning, say, how to drive a car, then first time I am learning from a driving instructor, I am very consciously engaged into it. And as I take my first driving lesson, that itself makes an impression in my mind somewhere, is it not? So that next time it is slightly less burdensome, as if I have practiced one. And 5 years, 10 years later, I become an expert driver. Then it is just automated I am driving a car, is it not? So somewhere in my mind, that practice is forming impatience after impatience, and now it just gets going, is it not? I am driving a car, and I am also discussing something with my neighbor who is sitting next to me. So things like that we are all aware of. What I am trying to say is our past knowledge is called smriti. That is stored here. Our past experience, what I have eaten, taste I have had, all that experience, that is called past bhog, that is called vasana. That is also stored here. And past actions I have, practices I have made, all kinds of my signatures. Not just the way I put my signature on a paper, the way I walk, the way I talk. Everybody has his habits and styles of certain things. The way I drive a car, it's all unique for every human being. All that is stored here. So past knowledge is called as smriti. Past bhog is called vasana. These are technical terms. Past action and its impressions are called as sanskar. But this family of three is also called as sanskar. So this has to be borne in mind. And all these impressions are stored here. And it is called ahankar because this is what is my personality. So now everybody's personality is unique based on what is his past views, past knowledge and opinions, what is his past actions, how does he, what are his signatures, and that the entire personality is here. That is what makes my aham, my I, so to say. Now, this is a man, this is the link, and as the questioner asked me, he used the term sankalp and vikalp because this is what decides. It is sankalp in the sense he decides, should I pick up the data coming from the sight organ or from the hearing or from the smell, taste and touch, It is one at a time. That is decision. So, sometimes I am so much into noticing something through my eyes that I miss out what somebody has spoken to me, is it not? And that is where, because these data come one at a time, that's why there is a thin arrow here. So, this is called Sankalp in the sense he is connected to one of these 5 inlet ports, one at a time. While he has to activate the motor organs, this can be multiple. You can walk as well as speak, is it not? And they also change your bag from one hand to another hand, is it not? So there is a multiplicity here, multitasking here. That's why this is a thick arrow. So this is why this is the word vikalp. Vikalp means I can do more than one at a time. So sankalp is one at a time, vikalp is more than one at a time, and the actions are initiated here, ahankar. This is the terminus point. As I said, I am driving a car and talking to my neighbor also. So discussion with neighbor is at the intellectual level, but then who is driving the car? My intellect is not driving the car because the whole driving program is all filled up here. So ahankara can drive my car, is it not? While I am engaged in a decision making process, engaged in a discussion. So in a very brief manner, I have explained to you how the mind functions so that I can acquire knowledge, experience the events, and act upon the surroundings, jnana, bhog, and karma. Now, why are we in this world? Let's ask that. Before we go into mukti, we have to ask, why are we in this world? What is the cause of bondage? Cause of bondage is namely because there is something, some deposits are there, life after life. There is a particular deposit that is called avidya. Avidya is misconception. Avidya is not ignorance here, it is wrong knowledge, which somehow has got in my mind. And what is that wrong knowledge? Wrong knowledge is like to treat that as if this is the original seat of consciousness instead of this as the original seat of consciousness. Is it not? This will be misconception. So there are a lot of other kinds of avidya, and one avidya is also, that's what is called a rag, in the sense the worldly pleasures, the sensual pleasures of life, as if I should go after them, as if that is the finality of my quality of life. If I enjoy good food, good drinks, and go after them, I think I am raising the quality of my life. Is it so? So these are the pleasures of my life. And if this is what is my ultimate boundary, then I will say I am driven by rag. So sukhanushayi raga. And rag is also a particular clash. So these are cravings, These are cravings. They give rise to temptations, and then that is how I function in this world. Many of us function, and many times even the very noble people are carried away by such temptations. So we are all human beings at the end of the day. So those cravings are here from life after life, is it not? And there is one on the very negative side in the sense opposite to rag is dvesh. Something which is painful and I want to be away from it. And one pain, we all have had it, the pain of death, is it not? So that has been given a different name, Abhinivesh, and everybody fears from death. So these are some of the, from our past life, thousands of life, countless numbers. These cravings, as well as these dislikes, so to say, likes and dislikes, both are deposited here. And since they are there, I have to take birth, is it not? Because there is so-called law of karma, and if I have done a karma which affects others, then it has to bring its reward. And there can be long gestation period, and all that karma and its impatience called sanskar are lying here. And unless that ledger book balance is zero, I have to take birth again. That is the philosophy. So the point is, when I take birth in this present life, I took birth, I was born by my mother, I had some account here. The ledger book was showing some account, and that had some tendencies also.
Door.
The account is called karmashaya, which has to be ripened so that it gives rise to karma vipak, so that I have rewards of my karma. And also, some sanskar has given rise to some tendencies, which are temptations and cravings. That is also kind of my built-in personality. So that's why I took birth. So all this is called as, there is a term for that, avidya, and all its further evolutes, they are called as clash. So avidya and its consequential evolutes, rag, dvesh, abhinivesh, etc. All this is put together as called as clash. And once clash is sitting there, I will definitely be born again. Okay. So this we have done. Now it's a long question. I hope the questioner has the patience to hear all this, because we have covered now one aspect of how does the mind function. Now we want to how to get away from all this. Obvious thing is I have to bring this ledger zero. Is it not? Ledger book as zero. But as I lead my life in this world, I am performing more karma, and they build their own sanskar, and they will also bring their whole reward. So, this is an unending cycle. So, how to break this cycle? So, there are two aspects of it. First is I want to come out of this cycle of karma and its rewards. Because if I do a lot of even noble karma, they sound so good, but even noble karma, positive karma, brings the rewards of joy and pleasure. So I have to live to taste those rewards, is it not? So that means that goes against the concept of mukti. Mukti is to get out of the cycle of birth and death, which is a cyclic phenomenon. So first thing is I have to do karma, which is because as a human being I have no other option. But can I do some karma so that that does not build its karmasha? Karmasha is an imaginary pot, kind of a leisure book in which all the karmas are falling in, and then they are getting cooked. And when the dish is ready, it is called karma vipak, and then I eat it, and then I get a taste, good or bitter or whatever it is. So this is a cyclic thing. I keep adding something into that pot, it is going to be unending. So there has to be a strategy that I stop adding anything more into that pot. That is first part. Second part, whatever is there in that ledger book, that clash, that somehow has to be burnt out. Otherwise, it has to somehow be taken into account. So first strategy is not to add anything into the ledger book. Second is whatever the ledger book balance shows, somehow it has to be evaporated. So these are the two aspects, and that's where Patanjali is helping us. What is he saying? So in typical functions, I do a function. Let's come back to this concept of buddhi and chitta here. So, you know, so Patanjali is saying when we sit for meditation, buddhi is like a intellectual function, thinking operation. So he says, get out of this thinking. Hmm? So that's what I say, like in meditation session, we should traverse, go from thoughtfulness to thoughtlessness, is it not? That is the first requirement. We don't want to do formal thinking. But then now it works as a chitta. It keeps on displaying one thing or another. It never wants to be blank because that's what we have trained our mind to be. So now the chitta has it's a kind of a procession. Something image comes, goes away, then another image, another image. Just a while ago, I was teaching meditation to another group. Then I said, now you bring something which is just one item, one image in your screen. What was it? We said mental recitation of Om. So at your chitta level, you have no thoughts, but you have one and one thing only, mental recitation of Om. So that word is there in your chitta now, and you will hope there comes a moment when chitta gets rid of that also, is it not? So that is our final challenge, and that is what we are teaching in our meditation classes. That first is this buddhi. So buddhi vritti. Vritti just means it's business, it's typical behavior. That is like my eyes have the business of seeing, my ears has the business of hearing, is it not? So that is its own natural inherent function. So buddhi vritti is buddhi's function, which is thinking operation. And when I wish to go into meditation, I want to get away from thoughts. No formal planning and thinking. But still I know it. Chitta will display something one after another. So I say I don't want a procession of unending, endless procession. I want just one thing, that word Om, that uniformity. And hopefully, there will be a day when I get rid of that also. That is my final thing. Then I will be void of Chittavitti also. So, Chittavitti Nirodha is my subduing the Chittavitti. So, first I want to get away from Buddhivitti to Chittavitti and then diminish it. But in the real life, what is happening? In real life, say I take a cup of coffee. I am drinking a cup of coffee. The taste is entering into my mental domains. It is displayed here by my buddhi. Now, this is defined, very good term by Vyas, who is writing the commentary on Patanjali Yoga. He calls it as buddhi pratisamvedi. That is the nature of bondage. The nature of bondage is this will get a reflection of whatever is happening here. This is automatic. Indeed, that is the purpose. That's how I get the knowledge. If the knowledge just stayed here, like we are discussing beautiful and knowledge of Sankhya and Yoga, if it just came here, but I didn't get it, then there was no good thing. So this is the nature of bondage. What has it, whoever has brought us together, this is that this is automatically getting the picture upon itself here, you know. So whatever happens on buddhi, also what you may say, whatever happens on chitta is as if known by me. It has to happen. That's how I get the dreams. That's how I learn so many things, is it not? So that's how the life moves on. Otherwise, it is on my computer screen, but I don't get it. I don't see it. Is it not? That is not the way we can proceed in our life. So this has to be buddhi pratisamvedi, is it not? And that is what it is. But now, this is very important. Once who was drinking a cup of coffee that was powered by his rag. Now listen to this very carefully. Somebody is taking coffee just for his nourishment or whatever it is. He gets to know the taste of it. That is going to be automatic. But now who had a craving for it, who wanted to enjoy the taste of coffee because of his propelling force was rag, his craving. Now he gets the taste of it. Now what does he do? He gets the taste. Now I have to give you an example. Now this is beyond Buddhi Pati Samvedi. Buddhi Pati Samvedi means the Buddhi Vritti is known to him. Now I am directing you to think in terms of Buddhi Vritti becoming your Bhog Vritti. Please try to understand it. You know, when this Buddhi Vritti, the taste of coffee has been displayed here, you know the taste of it and you drink it. This is in a very detached manner. You are still detached from it, isn't it? But if you are so much attached to it, then you enjoy the taste of coffee. You enjoy the taste of coffee because that was the starting force. Starting force was your rag, and you wanted to enjoy the taste of it, is it not? So that you allowed you have allowed, please don't blame your mind. You have allowed the buddhi vritti to become bhog vritti. Now again I have to make a distraction, sorry about that, to make you understand it better. Now I am, there is a digression, slight digression, maybe 2 minutes, 4 minutes. We are used to watching television news. I am listening to a television news in a very detached manner. I hear, yes, I get to know it, what's happening in the world. On the some same TV instrument, I am very much hooked to a particular TV serial, and I enjoy watching that. So that is a half an hour serial. When I am watching that thing, I am so much attached to it, though it is a fiction, but I participate in what is displayed by the TV. Sometimes I have tears in my eyes, sometimes I become emotional, etc. etc. I hope you understand what I am saying. There are two modes of watching TV. One was I am watching in a very detached manner when I listen to the TV news. The second was when I get so much participate in the TV serial, though it is a fictional event, I become a part of it. And then I become as if I am also a part of those things happening, is it not? So this is what number one is corresponding to the Buddhi Vetti. Number two, when I am watching the TV serial, where I have chosen to become a part of that TV serial, I have allowed myself to become Bhogvitti. Please remember this. This is very important that how a Buddhi Vitti can become Bhogvitti. Bhogvitti, when this person, this is the owner of the body and mind, called as Purush or me or myself, I have chosen to as if इसको मैंने ओढ़ लिया है ना? Something like that. So this has to be understood. When this thing happens, then this vritti is called as klish vritti because this originated due to the klesh. Is it so? So when it is klish vritti, now this will also cause vasana because I enjoy the taste of coffee now. This will leave an impression and that will leave a craving, and you see this will be a cycle. This is the cyclic nature. So the cycle has to be broken first at the level of don't allow buddhi vritti to become bhog vritti, and that is where the questioner's term come into effect called Vairagya. So Vairagya is very important that I am aware of what is happening within my mind. Yes, I eat food for nourishment. I eat food to live, but I don't live to eat food, is it not? So this is a very small difference, whether I eat to live or I live to eat. But that is where can demarcate your life very differently, whether you go this way or that way. So are you driven by rag or vairagya? So we all need nourishment. We have to eat food, but if the taste of the food becomes overpowered, So that's where the philosophy of karma now comes, that you do noble karma. Now I will like to explain the three categories of human beings, and that's why Patanjali's book has three kinds of prescriptions for three kinds of people. So three kinds of people are what? The average human being are driven by this law of karma. The clash is there, that's why he took birth, and he is driven by the life forces. Of course, everybody plans to get away from pain and enjoy the pleasures of life. All this is average. This is we will call it average human being, a very decent, good human being, because he is not harming anybody else to get pleasures of life, is it not? He goes by ethics, he follows the moral code of conduct, he follows the law of land, he follows the law of karma, and he is born, he will die, he will be born again, because the ledger keep on, account book is open. Now there is a person, this is I will say medium average person. Now there is a downslide when this human being, to maximize his pleasures, he begins to harm others. At the cost of others, he is trying to gain something, is it not? So he is violating the moral code of conduct, even law of land, and then he is allowing himself to degrade. So that person is, we call it as a rakshas, downslide. The average is Manushya. Now there is a person who is a positive side. That is where we have to understand. Otherwise, the concept of Vairagya, how is it feasible? Law of karma is working. And how can I go away from law of karma? If I do noble acts, that will bring pleasures of life. So I will always remain on the average human being, always going through the cycle of birth and death. So there has to be an understanding. How can I lift myself upward? So that is the Devatva part. And that I will like to explain. I know time is going fast. In remaining 10 minutes, I must complete this whole thing. So let's look at it this way. I'll give you a metaphor. Again, a slight digression, but a quick one. Say there is a mother with a child, 3, 4, 5-year-old child. The mother is trying to teach her child, take some responsibility. In particular, say, can you go and clean up your room, put everything at the right place? The child is slightly hesitant, he's after all a child. Then the mother is trying to motivate him. Okay, you do this, I will give you a candy. Then the child goes, in few minutes, he does whatever he can do, comes back, and then he gets a candy from his mother. It's very nice. A good child, nothing wrong in it. He is. But look at the another family, another mother and child. Now the mother tells the child the same thing, and that child just walks away, goes to his room, sets it up, and then he announces, whatever you told me, I have done it. But he did not need a reward of a candy, is it not? He just did it. If we ask him, why did you do it? My mother said that, you know. And he has a bonding with his mother. His mother said that that was very natural for him to do what is pleasing to his mother, is it not? So here we have seen child number one, who was motivated by the law of karma, some kind of a reward to do something. And child number two did the same thing, but he didn't want a reward, is it not? So this is a concept of nishkam karma. So when you, and here the reward is, Patanjali uses the term Ishwar Pranidhan. What is it? You dedicate your karma to Ishwar, as if I do it for your sake. Like the child number two says, I did it because mother said to me. So as a grown-up person, I say, okay, that Ishwar has sent me into this world. He expects me to behave like this, and I do it what he expects from me. So I just become like his ambassador or his agent and just function like that. Though I know there is a law of karma, but I just don't care about it. I am not looking for a reward. Like in our day-to-day life, many of us, of course, we work for a paycheck, but many of us go outside of this thing. We are volunteer somewhere and we work, or like in our household, mother or father works for their child without expecting anything. So everybody in his life has a small fraction of some activity where we do something and expect nothing in return. So that when it comes from me within, then I am in Vairagya. I am not expecting anything in return. And that karma is called as Nishkam karma. Then no more further, leisure book has no new entry there. And now the question comes, what to do with the initial deposits? And that is what is called Nibit Samadhi. When somebody gets more and more proficient in meditation, at one stage when he's delinked from this, then there comes a time that these seeds are burnt out, So this is a twofold strategy by Kapil and Patanjali. What they are trying to tell us is you lead a lifestyle where you are his representing, you are his ambassador, and you are not driven by your impulses. You are driven by just the inherent nature that I want to do good karma. So then you are more like a Nishkam karma. You have developed Vairagya within yourself. And then that is the way to lead your life. That is Vairagya. And then there is always a term called Abhyas. Abhyas is what? You learn the practice of this meditation, and as it becomes more and more proficient, these seeds will get burned out. So within the lifetime, you will have an occasion, at least leisure book is zero, and then you are going to die. Of course, we all will die, but then that death will be the door to immortality. There will not be the next birth. That is what is called moksha or mukti. Sorry, it was very long answer to this question, but the answer has to be multifold. How our mind functions, how the buddhi vritti becomes bhog vritti due to the klesh, particularly due to the rag, then how to get into the nishkam karma so that I don't fill in the leisure again, and then how to get to the high level of samadhi so that my seeds are burnt out. I think with this, if there is a short question, we can take it up now. Otherwise, we can conclude this session. Any short question in the remaining 4 or 5 minutes? Okay, thank you very much. We'll meet again. Somebody is joining now, but it's maybe there is a time zone difference. Welcome, there is a new person. If you have a question, we have 4 or 5 minutes, 3, 4 minutes. Any question by the new entrant or anybody else? Any question? If you are speaking, you need to let me unmute you. Yes. Are you speaking
Hello.
out a question?
सर नमस्कार.
हाँ, नमस्ते.
सर मैं कविंद्र बोल रहा हूँ इंग्लैंड से.
जी, what is your question, please?
Well, the question was, whatever I had, you have actually answered. And this was my first session with you. I mean, on this, I have met you before. I just wanted to know, by any chance, have you recorded this session or this answer of yours?
Yeah, that is a very good inquiry.
If you could,
I can probably, let me see if I can catch hold of that. I will, I'm just trying to find that file. There's in the right side, chat side. I think I have a link. I can copy paste it.
It will be fantastic, sir, if you could share the elaboration. It was really, really very nice.
Yeah. On the chat box, if you see, I have copied my YouTube playlist. So there is a particular playlist that is titled as Vedic Principles Question and Answer. So
Okay.
this has been recorded, like all the previous question and answer sessions have been recorded, and then they are uploaded in these playlists. So you will be able to see it later in the evening. I will do that. So
All right.
if you check it one day later, you will find the recording.
Thank you, sir.
Any other question? Otherwise, we can call it off. It has been my pleasure. Thank you all. See you. I also do this session Houston time, Monday 8 p.m. So this is Monday 8 p.m. as well as Friday 11 a.m. Thank you again, and we'll meet again. Have
Thank
a
you.
good
Namaste.
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 Namaste.